The deep desert's a pretty scary place, but in this video, I'm going to be going into the deep desert solo, which I have basically been doing even though we've got a guild base out there. I'm going to show you everything that I do solo in the deep desert, how I transport stuff from the deep desert back to the Hagar Basin, and how I would recommend you to do everything in this order to be as safe as possible and get as much loot out as possible so you can start making that Mark 6 stuff. Now, with the base that we do have in the deep desert, we do not actually have any factories yet. Eventually in the future, then I will be starting to craft stuff out there. The only reason I find it very difficult to do stuff out there is because now that the PvE area has been expanded, getting water out to your base is pretty hard. So that's why I always think it's best now to do all of your crafting back in your main base in the Hagar Basin. You can see we're located right here, where you can keep all of your bodies nicely stocked up so you can always have water upon returning. And with the loop that you're going to be doing, it's going to take you about an hour. And as we know, the death stills, the old ones, the Fremen ones, do take an hour for the corpses to be processed. So you might as well go ahead, process bodies, go to the deep desert, do the loot run that I'm going to do, and then head back in, drop more bodies off, start crafting up stuff, rather than having two bases going at the same time and making it very complicated, especially as a solo. Now, I am doing this base with two of us, but if you want to come and join in on the guild, then you're more than welcome to do so. Come over to the Discord, the link is in the description. And I go live Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on twitch.tv. The link is in the description as well. If you're enjoying this kind of content, make sure you subscribe and leave a like. So, the first things I'm going to be really needing is I'm going to need a scout. Now, the scout is going to be my best vehicle for traveling around in the deep desert really quick. Now that they move a lot faster with storage than someone who's got missiles. So if anyone does have missiles coming after you, you should be able to escape them and get away with all the loot that you've gathered. Now, the base that you do make in the deep desert, you want it to be big enough, in theory, for the most optimal way to do this, to fit an assault helicopter. And the reason is because these assault helicopters can carry up to 1,000 storage, as you can see right here. So the good thing is, what you do is you just scout, you go and collect resources, and then you go and fill this bad boy up. And when this bad boy is filled up, you collapse your scout, and then you fly this back, put everything on craft, and then go back out and rinse and repeat. So that's it in brief. Let me show you how it's done. So we've collapsed our scout. As we can see, it is in our inventory. We're going to take the assault out. I do already have a base, but it only needs to be big enough. It can be smaller than this. It can all fit within an advance. I've made a guild size one so we can fit multiple assaults and multiple scouts. Make sure you have got a vehicle backup tool, because it's always good if you are being attacked and you've got nothing in it. You can collapse it. And then if you die, at least you keep your faunacopter. Get yourself a nice compactor. Now, this is a Mark 4, but it's still more than enough. Get yourself a cutter rate, at least Mark 5, so you can get titanium and stravidium. Make sure you got plenty of water. So I'm using the deck Liter-a-John, which gives me 10,000 water. Now, the weapons and armor is not majorly necessary, because obviously we don't really have to worry about fighting, or at least we shouldn't have to. But do make sure that you have got a Mark 5 power pack if you're using Mark 5 tools. The next most important thing is making sure you've got plenty of fuel, so when you do go out there, you don't run out of that. So fuel and water are going to be your lifelines. Right, let's go and get our assault, and let's fly into the deep desert, and let's go and show you where to build, or where currently you should build in this week's reset. Now, as I did mention, you don't actually need to use the assault copter. It's just the only reason I'm using it is because I think it's a very good way to get a good amount back to the base in a good timely fashion. Now, if you did use the scout, you're just going to be doing a lot more runs, which is going to make it a lot more tedious. Granted that they do move faster. So currently the location that I'm heading to in the deep desert is I'm going to the furthest right, which means that is from 6 to 9 in the deep desert. It goes 1 to 3, 3 to 6, and 6 to 9. So if you enter in the right zone, which is the far right one, you're going to be able to build your base exactly where I've currently got it. Now, like I did mention, every single week this does change, so I will try and give you an update every week where I'm building the base. And if there's any other tips that you would like from me, make sure you let me know in the comments down below, and I'll make sure I do my best to give them to you. So here we are entering the deep desert. Now, I do have a tiny little base in the A row. I don't actually need this. I literally had it there for storage when I was first starting to figure out what happened after the weekly reset. But as you can see, the furthest base now is 10,000 meters away, which is pretty darn far. And that's because now the deep desert PvE zone is not just up to this wall that we see right here. The PvE zone goes all the way up to midway through E. And as you can see, we're built into EA right here on this rock, which is directly along the center line, or just almost along that center line, meaning we are not entering PvP. but we're still super close to getting the resources just by heading out. And I don't have everything uncovered because when you're flying around, you can see all the rock formations, and all you need to do is go to them. And if we zoom into some of them, you can see when you've gone ahead and scanned them, you can see where all the minerals are. Take this area, for example. There is loads of materials right here. So as you can see, here we are approaching the base. We've made it so there's plenty of room for buggies to go in and out. However, right now it's only aluminium on this island, but it is right on the edge of the PvP zone. And we've gone ahead and chucked it here so we could go ahead and have a safe place for both an assault or ornithopter, I need to change that, down below, and one up top. And then you can see there's multiple spots for the scouts to go ahead and land as well. So if we go ahead and just park ourselves in here, now that that is safe and sound in here, yes, this is a bit snazzy. It doesn't need to be like this. We can see that we've got parking for 4 scouts, but the scouts don't need to be out and active all the time. It's meant to be just a place when the guild come in, they can go ahead and drop it off and keep on moving. Currently, there's only these storages. This has all been set up ready to be able to actually run it as a proper functioning base with a giant flute here, so we can put the large spice crafter in here, and all of this room for all of the machinery, and then all of this room to park all of your buggies down here as well. We did make sure that we went and put the sub thief down on the ground so no one can accidentally delete the foundation. But once we're here, literally all we'll do is we'll keep the assault now in here. We will go ahead and pull out our scout. We will drop it into place like so, and then we will go ahead and get our scout, and we will go to head out into the deep desert. Make sure that you have got it fully repaired, or at least the wings repaired. And at this time in the afternoon, it starts to get a little bit messy. So you can see the location where we are. We are located right here in E8. Make sure you use a Solido replicator on your base so you can go ahead and repair it. And I would actually make sure I've got a scanner module on my scout to make things a little bit easier. So the first steps, well, you've got one. You can go ahead around everywhere in the PvE area and collect yourself titanium and stravidium. However, as you can see here, looking at the rocks and masses in here, you can only get 1 or 2, so you're not really going to be able to get many in the PvE areas, making it very restrictive. So you're actually going to have to head into the PvP zones. But yes, it is a lot easier now because the safe zone is a lot closer to where it was originally, making it a lot easier for you to go and head out. If you are someone who really doesn't want engagements, go early mornings or late evenings. You should be able to avoid all of the people or the massive amounts of people, so you're going to have less encounters. Right, we've got our copter, we've got the fuel, we've got our scanner module. We are good to go into the deep desert with all of our materials. So how do we know where to go? What I use is a beauty of a website that is called plantologist.app. And as you can see in here, you've got all of this green area, which is classed as a safe zone. And then you've got all of these icons on the map. Now we have planted ourselves here, so we know if we go straight up, we're going to find titanium, stravidium, and all of that in this area, because if we look at these icons here and then pair them up with what we're seeing up here, we can see where all of the resources are and everything. Now, do be alerted that all of the houses that we're seeing along here, these are PvP zones. If they are a capture zone, all of the wrecks still are PvP zones. Even if you are in the PV area, that goes with the whole bottom row as well. All of these are PvP zones, so do be careful even in the PvE area. Now it does say up here at the top you can go ahead and change your region, but as you can see, by changing region it doesn't actually change anything. The only thing it does is your time, so you can see yours reset a little bit quicker when they've gone ahead and reported. So with this, then we know from where we are, which is sitting right here, we're going to want to head straight up, gather literally all the resources, all the spice, and get the hell out. It's as simple as that. From where my base is, if I stay in this zone, which we see right here, we can see we're 8, and if we head directly north, we can go all the way up to I8. Do we need to go into this area? I mean, we have got areas like this where we're going to get a little bit of stravidium and that, but I have gone and marked or mapped out here in G6, which is really good for titanium and stravidium. And then if we head up a little bit further, yet again, this is the core zone H6 where I'm getting the most of my resources. So I'm going to go ahead, get up to my 750 altitude, and I'm going to start my glide to save or preserve as much fuel as possible. I'm going to get there. Right, now we will pull on the plug. We will put the dotted line in line with the 2 lines, and we're going to make sure we go down to 170 plus by just tapping the W key till we get to that speed. Then from here we can see that we've now entered the PvP zone, but we're just going to glide for as long as possible. You can make it so you can have a continuous glide on this every time that the ship does start going down below, let's just say 650, you can just pull it back up until you get back up to that 750. And then when you do, you just tilt it back down till you get to the speed 170 kilometers an hour. And then you are good to keep on gliding. You just keep doing this over and over and over again, and you can keep a continuous glide. As you're traveling along, make sure you hold in the right mouse click, and you make sure you look around, because for all you know, there is actually spice sand flowing out here. As right now we see a lot of flour in the sand, but there could be spice sand anywhere that people actually haven't clocked onto. I know we get the big spice blows, but even the small blows can get you a good amount of spice if you are there first, and it's just that little bit extra you can get along your journey. The whole idea of this is get in, get your stuff, and get the hell out. We can see the spice all the way over there in the distance, but it's get your stuff and get the hell out, because this is the danger zone. So here you go, we see we approach in the rock formation. I'm just going to pull myself a little bit lower, so when I do get to it, I can go ahead and start using my scanner. As we can see on the bottom of the screen, scanner is with C. And these are the rock formations I want to go to first, because they've got the most amount of nodes, and I can go ahead and collect hopefully enough in the time that I'm here. Now, they might already been collected, and if they are, then it is a 45-minute respawn timer. So let's, as we approach, go ahead and scan, and we can see right there we've already got our first node right there. It's Stravidium. We want to get Stravidium and we want to get Titanium. However, the more rarer one is Titanium, because Stravidium you can get quite a lot from these. Now, when you are cutting it up, also pick up the ones on the floor. I know it's not much, but you don't get much in the first place, so it does help. Your first amount that you go and pick up, try not put it in your ship, just in case you're in an area where the activity is quite hot for other people to attack you. It just means you can escape, or if you have to, fold up your ship. Just that little bit extra chance. We can see there by scanning, we've now got these two yellow squares or dots, or whatever you want to call them, and I now know there's more material over there. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to literally keep going around, scanning, and go into these areas and making sure that I go and collect it, hopefully before everyone else. I have no clue why people leave these. Remember, you can get the better cut array. In this case, I don't have the better cut array. And yes, you could build a little base out here and use a mining buggy with a Mark 6 cutter. That would be a better solution. But right now, I'm doing this, and this way is working fine for me until I've got them handy improvements. So we just put that in there, and as we can see, we are 93 out of 500, where the assault has got 1,000. So we're going to go do 2 runs with this until we're full, and then we'll do the assault back. Now, you could leave everything in your base, stockpile it, and move it out all at the end of the week. But I want to get progressing, and I think that this is the most efficient way for you to do so. Now, if you did have the big carrier, even better. Oh, look at them two fighting it off over that little bit of spice down below. One's got a rockets and one doesn't. That person was collecting spice. I've just been blown up by that ornithopter. So there we go, first run complete. All I'm literally going to do is I'm going to land in here. I'm going to drop down, get to any one of these storage boxes, go over to it, throw it in here from the scout. Then I'll switch to the assault, and then I'll throw everything from there into here. And then we're going to do the exact same thing, and then we'll go back to base. Now, we have only hit Titanium and Stravidium then. And that is because I didn't see any shipwrecks or any spice blows that were safe getting. So I'll only ever do safe things. If I were to have seen a crashed ship or a spice blowout, then I'll make sure I got some spice, because spice would be the most important. Then I would go ahead and get Titanium, which to me is second important, as well as Stravidium. And then after that, if I'm going along and I see any crashed ships, I'll make sure I go and grab all of the advanced components, not the basic ones, because you can get them in the basic world pretty easy. So I'm going to go and get all of my next run, and then I'll come back to you. Well, that was lucky, but that was a perfect example of how you can get away from PvPers in something with storage and then with missiles. It takes some serious damage. Look, the scanner, the hull. Whoa. Yeah, we took a good beating. So our assault's full, but we're not. So what we're going to do is we're going to head back, but along the way we'll collect anything that we do see. As you can see, there it is full. So we'll just fly over all of these large rock formations and see if we can find 1, 2, or a couple nodes. Now, if we do zoom in, we have got a Stravidium and a Titanium, as well as another Stravidium on this side and 1 Titanium around the far side. So let's see if we can find it. So they got farms. That was no good. Moving on to the next area. So the best thing to have done is to actually scan these rock formations. So you can just zoom in and on your route back, see where they are and just pull up to them and collect them. We've got 1 Stravidium there, 1 Titanium there. So I would preferably go for the Titanium first and then maybe over to the Stravidium. Oh, I was going to say no luck, but the ship has literally just crashed right there. We should be able to be first to get to it. We've got 1 there, 1 on the top, and 1 on the far side. Just a little tip for that one on that side as well, because it does come across quite high up. I'm actually going to grab everything out of this. Go ahead and land on this little bit of metal that's sticking out here. And from here, you can cut this open. And then when it drops, you go ahead and collect everything. And that basically filled us up, so we are good. That's actually quite a successful run. Let's get back and let's process it all. Just back in time before that sandstorm hit us. So yeah, we've got back. We've literally unloaded everything. We make sure we've got everything up and running. And then that is all we're going to do. We're going to hit that, repair, go back out and do the exact same thing. Scout and assault. Hope you enjoyed this. It's only a short video, but it's a video worth knowing how I do it solo in the deep desert.